Hey, this is Marisha Mukerjee, writer on Heroes Reborn, and you're listening to the Primatech Files.
Hey, Primatech peeps. Welcome back to the Primatech Files, a Southgate Media Group podcast dedicated to all things Heroes Prime and Heroes Reborn related things. I am Lilith, and joining me, as always, is...
It's me, Ricky. Hello.
Obviously, you heard the intro tag. So, yes, this is another interview in our long series of interviews. She is a writer on Heroes Reborn, and we are going to get to know Marisha. So, we will start off by having her tell us a little bit about herself.
Hey, guys. How are you? So, yeah, I'm a writer on Heroes Reborn. I co-wrote episode 9, Sunday Bloody Sunday. Before that, I was a writer on the FX show The Bridge.
Awesome.
And then prior to that, I did a couple of different jobs in the writer's room. I was a writer's PA on Justified. I had worked for the Cineflix Studios on a show called Copper, which was on BBC America. And yeah, just enjoying, kind of the final 3 episodes that have been airing this January of our show.
As are we. I really liked the comeback.
Send in the clones, the mid-season
premiere.
Yeah, that's just an awesome episode. We really enjoyed making that and shooting it up in Toronto. But yeah, I think it's everyone who's going to be tuning in for the final 2, I think are going to be in for a very special treat.
Yeah, definitely. I've read lots of tweets from James Middleton saying about how special effects based the final kind of episodes are going to be. And that just fills me with joy, especially after like how Heroes Season 1 kind of ended a little bit. I'm looking forward to there just being a load of powers just being thrown at everyone. Sending the clones was pretty power based. I really enjoyed it.
It's definitely going to be huge. That's what I have to say. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, Tim said that as well. As soon as he said it was going to be huge, I was like, "There's giants. If there's giants, then that will be great." But yeah,
I know. Like maybe question mark.
Maybe question mark. Yes. So came also from a little bit. I see you're from the UK, Ricky. Yes. I studied in Scotland for 4 years. I went to undergrad there. So big fan of all that stuff.
Nice. So I read your bio, and your history is quite varied. You studied art history. You did a bit of filmmaking. You're a screenwriter, producer, director. What led you to start TV writing?
I guess you could say that. I mean, I've been writing since I was a kid, and I was totally. I think actually my first script I ever wrote was a Batman movie when I was 10.
Nice.
But I, just have been writing all along, and somehow dropped into the industry via theater and via producing, and decided, that I really wanted to focus on being a writer. And actually it came because when I was in grad school, I was like, I'm going to be a screenwriter. And then I did an internship with the head of TV at Showtime. And I got to see how TV shows were made and all of that. And then I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be, I do like feature writing, but I want to be in TV. It's awesome. And I definitely watched a lot of TV shows growing up, and actually when I was in college started watching Heroes, and I was a big fan. So this was a very full circle moment.
Nice.
when this whole thing happened. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it, and then worked in the studio, and then got to see how different shows were run from that perspective, and being a writer's PA on Justified, and then got my first gig on The Bridge.
Nice. Lilith is a big DC nut, so I'm just wondering what the outline to your script for your 10-year-old version of Batman was.
Well, I think it was oh God, I'm sure it's horrible and has a pile of dust on top of it, but I think it it definitely revolved around Arkham Asylum being released, and all the prisoners who are being held there have this vengeance on Batman. And then one of the big characters I think that I had in at the time was Scarecrow.
Oh.
I think Nolan stole your idea, lady. I might want to go find that script.
I know, find it, look at it. But yeah, so I loved Spider-Man. I really liked the hero stuff. And the thing I think that I was drawn to as an avid fan of Heroes was that they were like real people that you could
Mm.
identify with, and I remember watching season one and like the buzz line all my friends were saying was like save the cheerleader, save the world.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that there was that little known second half of the season, which was "Are you on the list?" And I don't think most people remember that, but I vividly remember like, yes, I'm on the list. I'm on the list.
We
Anyway,
so tried to make that happen while we were podcasting about that season.
Awesome.
Has working on a sci-fi drama been a challenging change of pace compared to what you've worked on before?
I think one of the things I've always loved sci-fi, and so I was super excited once the opportunity came to work on Heroes to kind of flex that muscle. But, at the end of the day, you're telling stories about character and whether something is in the horror genre or comedy or all of that, you just want it to be based on some sort of truth, and that's how people identify with it. So I didn't necessarily think it was a challenge in that way. The one thing I will say is that obviously when you have someone fly or shoot fireballs out, that production wise you can learn a lot about, green screen and all the special effects. And I think especially as you see the final three or two we have coming up, that there's a lot that goes into that.
Did you watch any sci-fi shows growing up? We know about your avid love for comics, or at least Batman and Spider-Man. But was there any sci-fi shows that you remember from your youth?
Um, I mean, I like Doctor Who. I remember like watching that a lot, and obviously being in living in the UK for like 6 years, that was like
Mm,
a big thing. Everyone would sit down and watch that. And also, but I was also more, I guess you could say, movies too, like things
yeah.
like Contact or Star Wars and the Star Trek,
Mm.
that type of stuff. Was super into, as well. I think maybe like as a kid, I watched Conan the Barbarian Warrior. Does anyone
Yeah.
even know what that is? I'm like, but there was like sci-fi stuff in that. I remember watching that, eating like Lucky Charms. But yeah.
Just off topic, like, what did you think of the new Star Wars film, or have you seen it yet?
Oh my God. I like cried and fist pumped at the end. It was
Definitely.
like I was like, yes.
It was like
I
go
I loved it.
it was like one of the first films that I've gone to the cinema and watched, and everyone has been quiet. This is good. This is really good. um,
Yeah. I mean, it's funny though, as a screenwriter, when you watch things, you can kind of be like, okay, I think I know where they're gonna go,
yeah.
But it just was like when you see these characters, you're like, this is what I've been waiting for. Thank
Yeah.
you. It was awesome.
Okay, in nerd rant. Kidding, kidding.
Sorry.
So, does the fact that Heroes Reborn is sort of kind of a revival show make it harder, easier, or just a different workflow for you as a writer?
I think it can be challenging, but it's also very exciting. Challenging, I guess, in the sense because you have a whole mythology
Mm.
that's been created already, and so you're kind of looking into that. But that's also an exciting thing too, because I'm like a huge fan of like planning Easter eggs or
Yeah.
finding those moments that like you kind of not only does it help the story and it's remaining true to that, but it also gives the your fans and the audience something to kind of glom onto as well.
Definitely.
It's also like you're inspired by what has come before, and you want to pay homage to it too. So it's I guess it's a combination of both.
Yeah. There's a whole section in our podcast which is just Easter egg finding. It's
Oh,
great.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I remember like a couple from this episode. There's the Haitian's first line of like, I'm just one of the hunted, which was obviously a callback to Dark Matters and little
yeah.
bits and pieces. Were there any Easter eggs that you planted that we should know about?
Yeah, I think, well, if you saw Sunday Bloody
Yeah.
Sunday, I think that you hinted at an Easter egg that's in there.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
kind of was waiting to see if like fans had like picked up on
Mm.
certain things, but there's various artwork that
Yeah.
I should say that is
Definitely.
planted behind, and there may be an Isaac Mendez painting
Oh, it is. Okay,
lurking
cool.
around, or something that was painted by Matt Parkman himself. So,
Oh, I never
uh,
didn't even think about that.
yeah, so definitely like things like that that you plan in, or I'm trying to think of others. I know there's like so many along the way,
Mm.
but the comic book obviously that Tommy found, in Paris, and there's just things that within the vast world that you can really, drive on. HRG seeing the cheerleader,
Mm.
in June 13th, part one, that's Claire, kind of walking, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So how did you get involved with Heroes Reborn?
So I was at the time I was finishing up on the bridge, and we kind of knew the future of that. And I had was in London for 2 months, and then came back to LA. And my first meeting was with I had met with NBC, but was with Tim Kring, and we sat
Oh.
down and literally just talked about it. And of course, I was like, "Oh my God, like I love the show," hello. But and I got the job, and I just remember like my showrunner on the bridge had texted me and said I was just at the gas station, like in Hollywood, and there was someone pumping gas, and they had a Heroes T-shirt on, and I was like, I really, it was just kind of like a fate thing. Like I got the job that week, so that's kind of how it happened.
Nice.
Yeah.
We talked to Nazneen Contractor, who said Joey Falco took a particular interest in the character of Farah. Is there a
Yeah.
character you loved writing for and or helped to develop?
There was, I guess we have our hand in a lot of characters. I had a little hand in Farah too. I mean, obviously, or
Yeah.
being an Indian,
Mm.
woman, I think it was very important to tell the story
Mm.
of a Muslim woman who's a hero. I thought that
Yeah,
was
definitely.
super exciting, especially now, to do it.
Mm.
But also, I was a huge fan in the original show of HRG.
Mm.
Um, I just found him extremely compelling, and Jack Coleman is like one of the best actors you could possibly work with. And I just really enjoyed kind of seeing his character arc of finding out the truth to then taking this mantle of of trying to find Tommy and Melina. And then also I really enjoyed writing for Erica,
Mm.
Rhea Kilstead's character, Erica Kravitz, because she was an interesting villain, mainly that she does everything wrong but for the right reasons of her kind of mindset, and to
Yeah.
try to get into that was super exciting. And I know in Sunday Bloody Sunday we try to do something where she has her Harris clones that kind of are able to take out anyone. They're at her beck and call, her henchmen, so to
Mm.
speak. But to see her shoot the deer, butcher the deer, and serve it to Tommy was kind of twisted, but it
Yeah.
also let you into a little bit about her ethos of what she believes in a very twisted way.
Yeah.
So she was an exciting character, and I think moving forward, you're gonna really understand a lot more of who she is.
Especially with the next episode
Yeah,
title.
especially with
Company
the next
woman.
episode title. So, which I'm very super excited about. So that, yeah, as well. So was super excited to do, to write for.
Oh, that's cool. Because we were watching the last episode and we were like, Company Woman. Wait, what if that's about Joanne and not like Erica? So I guess we'll see when it comes up. But
Yeah, you'll have to see.
yeah,
There's definitely a lot in the next episode for everyone to kind of sink their teeth into
awesome,
and get to know all of our characters better.
awesome. Is there a particular story that you broke in the writers' room?
I guess part of being in the writer's room is that you get a chance to you kind of have your hand in a lot of,
Yeah.
stories. So it's hard to name like one, in particular. Um, but I know like the bloodbath and the beginning of season in the beginning, the first episode, definitely had like some ideas on that. And,
Mm.
and especially in episode 9, I mean, Sharon and I, who I co-wrote with, a lot of that, when you come to a place like 9, especially going after the flashbacks, there's a
Mm.
lot to, tie up and kind of show how these characters move forward. So I know that there was definitely a lot of our DNA in that story moving forward, and getting the exciting thing to introduce Matt Parkman really again, which was super awesome. And I guess you could say also, actually a big thing for us in that episode that we really brought was the Tommy stopping time,
Yeah.
which was important for his character, to have that moment where it kind of crystallizes who he is
Mm.
for the show, and in regards to Hero. And Casper's death too. I mean,
Oh,
that was a very hard thing, but we kind of knew what was going to happen at that point with him, what his fate was.
mm,
So, for those that don't know, you collaborated with Zach on the Hero Truther videos, yes?
Yes, I did.
Okay, where'd you guys get that idea from? Because it was awesome.
yeah,
So so Zach, who's an amazing writer and great, and he covered the finale with Tim, I should say, and it's gonna be awesome. Um, he we were all, like part of the thing about being in the writers' room is, and also this hero's awesome universe is that there's like books, there's like comics,
mm,
there's like, there's like a whole thing. And we just, those viral videos, I think Zach came in and said, to complement the digital, series, all of that, we want to do these viral videos that, people can be like, wait, is this real or not? So
yeah,
we got together and we, wrote it. And I think one of mine was like the British tourists who are making fun
yeah.
of the statue, and then the woman's like pushing the car, just like these little cinematic fun things, which were great. So yeah, we did that. It was like a great thing. You got to write, 2 pages and just be
Mm,
collaborative and see how can you relate this to people on YouTube,
yeah.
like the videos you see out there. So it was super fun.
Was just talking about the hero truth and name, but was there how did that come about, or was there other ideas that they were up for grabs before Hero Truther?
I think that was all Zach I'm pretty sure that was all Zach when he kind of created, the digital series and the backs, came up with that. The writer's room was going at the same time
Yeah.
that he was, writing it. I believe that was him, and it was just about, part of the thing I think of this season is kind of, if you have heroes in hiding, is revealing the truth
Mm.
about Suresh and kind of what is being hidden in the world, and what is Erica controlling.
Okay, so before this interview, I rewatched Sunday Bloody Sunday. So I have a couple
Yeah,
of a couple of
yeah,
questions which
yeah.
just just can't like. I don't know if anyone else is thinking about these, but I definitely was when I watched them. So
Okay.
I know we talked about this in DMs, but what happened? Do you know, like, is there an official thing about what happened to Brad, or is that a spoilery type thing?
I guess you could say it could be a combination.
Okay.
Brad, in our mind is very, he's in Carbondale, with his mother. Obviously, his father is no longer, part of his life via Casper.
Hmm.
Probably pining for Emily a little bit, but I just say stay tuned.
I just like to think that he's trying to put out all these electrical fires that are in Carbondale at the moment. So yeah, he's
Yeah,
going out like a
he's the
hero.
hero.
Exactly.
He is the hero, really, at the end of the day. And Tommy's BFF. So,
Definitely. They were
yeah,
bros. They were total bros.
they
I
were
love that.
total bros. It was a bromance.
Casper's death, like you said that was always in plan, but for
Yeah.
me it felt was that for me anyway, was that kind of time kind of rewriting itself because of what happened with Renee and Quentin both being alive after the time travel? Or am I just thinking too hard about this?
Well, I think you can definitely say that anything moving past HRG making the decisions that he did and rewriting time has effect on it
Mm,
all, really. But we always knew that Casper was such an important knight, knight of the round table, so to speak,
mm,
protecting Tommy moving forward, that certain people would pay the ultimate sacrifice, right?
mm,
Because these twins are meant to do great things, etc. And it was it felt in the nature of having everyone come together in this sort of showdown at the ice cream parlor shop, kind of where it all began,
mm.
and Joanne and Luke and everything, that Casper's the only person, character wise, that could give Joanne kind of her relief,
Yeah.
that could help her move forward. And, we almost thought that, like, if Luke hadn't shown up, if
If
Tommy
Tommy hadn't shown
if
up, yeah,
Tommy hadn't show up at that
she would
time,
have taken the coin.
maybe, she was going to take the coin. And it plays with the idea of, like, obviously butterfly effect, but more importantly, just by one thing in this show and for all the seasons is that timing is so important, in destiny, and that certain things have to happen so that it can be fulfilled. And so I guess it was a case that it was showing a little bit of the ultimate sacrifice, but we knew that Casper would ultimately, you
Bite the
know,
bite the bullet.
bite the bullet, so to speak. I know, and Pruitt is the most
Yeah.
amazing actor. Oh my God, his monologue, the way that he performed that was just so compelling and
Mm,
had everyone almost in tears in the crew when we
definitely.
were shooting it.
He was one of our favorite like supporting characters, and it was a sad day in the Primatech Files when Casper. Oh no. Anyway,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
um,
Sad for us too.
there's talk about an engineer in the future. Is that someone we should be looking out for, or is that just?
Uh, that's a Tomo.
Oh, I thought it was. Okay, cool,
Yeah, yeah, the
awesome.
engineer. The reason why we didn't actually say his name was because
I don't
the
think we had
reveal
seen him.
comes in
Yeah,
10. Yeah, the reveal comes in 10 when Miko's there, Katana Girl, and she sees herself, and then she sees, her father, which is like a Kurosawa film, that
yeah.
emotional reunion was amazing.
Also, there's Luke Zachary does this awesome like little monologue about tomatoes and
Yeah,
or tomatoes. Sorry.
yeah, tomatoes, yeah.
I was just wondering. It seems very like quote unquote old Luke, as in like that kind of hatred for something different.
Yeah.
Was that intentional, or was that just us trying to get to know Luke and how he doesn't like tomatoes?
I think there's a couple things. One is what Sharon and I try to do within a lot of that, and I give a lot of this to Sharon for that particular moment, is that we we really wanted to sit with Luke. We've kind of experienced him throughout the show thus far as the killer and then a person discovering his power and the loss of his son. And just an everyday thing that irks a person, right?
Mm,
And I'm sure we all have it. And
yeah.
and tomatoes came to pass because, and to Sharon's credit, the writer, one of my co-writer, she hates tomatoes, and I think they're a fruit. So it's a little bit of us in one little thing, but um, it just showed that you can look at the bigger situation, especially with his storyline, feeling like an outcast and kind of and all of that of his journey to become a hero, and you can tell that in a very teeny tiny way. So we just wanted to kind of just show who he was as a person, on the everyday thing. And we thought it was quite funny that he's going on the rant about tomatoes, and Melina kind of ignores him a little
Yeah.
bit, but it's there. It's just a little chance to sit with them as just normal people.
In the timeline, Joanne is picked up by Harris. Where does the Cadillac webisode fit into the timeline? I'm so
Cadillac,
confused.
the Cadillac web. I
Yeah,
haven't actually seen the Cadillac webisode.
Oh.
To say it, I haven't have pointed, but I know that's with Harris
Mm.
doing it. So yeah, I don't know if I have
Is
been.
it? Like when I saw it, it was the
Yeah,
last time we see her. She's getting picked up by Harris, and then
yeah,
the next time we see, like then the webisodes happen, and she seems to be on her own. I don't remember seeing Harris in them, and
yeah,
then she goes away because of Damon Peak or and his power, and then the next thing we
yeah.
know, she's turning up at the end of the last episode. So I was just wondering like how it kind of fit in, and whether she like this is a different time, or if it's a mission, like a mini mission that her and Harris went on. But that's fine. It's
Yeah. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for that. I
that's all
haven't
right.
seen it. Now I'm gonna go as soon as I'm done with you. I'm gonna go and watch it and be like, you know,
Nice.
okay, so Ricky's been dying to know, is Deering dead?
Deering is dead.
Okay.
Yes!
I know, I know.
Dirty
I
Deering.
no, but I'm saying no, but he, again, it was the whole thing of that, out in our world
Mm,
that people pay, the ultimate sacrifice, and also to show that there's a sense of brutality in what Matt Parkman's doing,
mm,
at Sunstone Manor, and that based on what happened to Deering, it put a lot more impetus on Carlos.
mm,
And I guess that's one thing that was very cool to do is in episode 9 was we really wanted to show a little bit of that moment between Carlos and Farah
Mm,
and what happened and that Afghanistan sequence, I think it was very kind of trippy, but where you see Parkman taking control of
mm.
him and diving into his mind, and you come out to Afghanistan. I'm just so like, I love that moment so much, and it was shot by Gideon Raff, who's an amazing director, and you just kind of brought you into the realness of that memory with him when he kind of became a coward, and then all of this transpired, forward with his character.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting that Matt kind of like just thinking about it. Like Matt sees himself as he's doing this for the greater good, and he's creating this like little haven, this paradise around him. But even when he's quote unquote killing people, he's not actually doing it. He's
Yeah,
just saying you get to choose your own
yeah, choose
path.
your
Yeah,
destiny. Yeah,
and so yeah,
and and that was a big thing too. Like we
mm,
wanted to have that, his power is so powerful,
yeah,
in that regard, and which was cool that when we go into 11, the only person that can literally, take him on essentially is the Haitian,
mm,
that kind of dynamic. But to have him kind of in all of what he's doing, he keeps himself at a safe distance,
definitely.
and he's able to kind of wipe his hands literally of it because it's through him saying go to your darkest moment, and take over and punish yourself, was a big thing.
And I think also the fact that he doesn't kill Rene slash the Haitian is quite a big thing as well. He just incapacitates him and uses his power. He's got a gun. He's pointing it towards his head. You know, it still like feels like they're kind of towing the line with Parkman, even though he's doing these evil things. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
um,
think you'll get a sense more of that as we more of who Matt is as we move forward.
awesome. So we've already talked about the picture and whether or not it's
Yes.
an
I'm so glad that you like found that out. I
yeah.
was I was wondering. I was like, "Come on, fans."
Yeah, it
Like
took
click.
me it took me like my second rewatch to kind of get it, but when I did, I was like, oh wait, what is going on? And I think the teaser trailer at the end of the mid-season finale kind of
Yeah.
put it together for me. But yeah,
Yeah.
and I was just wondering like, was it a Mendez or was it? And then you just like you said, it might have been a Parkman, and I just completely forgot about that whole
Yeah.
storyline.
Parkman can paint
Yeah,
too. So,
That's still a thing. Good to know.
it's still a thing. Yeah. No, for sure. It is we did come in and it is a Parkman.
oh
But if you know that he paints, within the same kind of contrast, but there are clues within that painting, shall
yeah,
I say,
definitely.
that you can kind of look at for what is to.
Yes, I believe we've got it on our Twitter feed somewhere, so I will
Yeah,
put it in the show notes when this goes out so everyone can take a look at it.
yeah, check it out.
There's a there's a picture of yourself, Ria, and Judith on set.
Yeah,
Was that from? I think the only place I can possibly think it would be from would be Company Woman, or am I wrong in thinking that?
that was actually from episode 11.
Okay.
It was the day. It was taking the day actually that Heroes Reborn was premiering.
Ooh,
And we were filming. I was up in Toronto for a while filming with them, and uh, we just such great, women to film with. And
yeah,
it was from that, from the last scene that they had
yeah.
in in
Oh,
11.
nice. Yeah,
Okay, so we are almost at the very end of our interview. So, of course, the question that we always have to ask because we just can't help ourselves: what can you tell us about the upcoming episodes without getting yourself Haitianed?
I think I gave you guys clues along the
yeah.
way. Um,
Totally.
all I will say is that it's huge, which I know that everyone, Tim and everyone has said moving
Giants,
forward.
giants.
Giants. And also that I think, especially in the next episode, which I is one of my favorites of our season, is that you really get to dive into who these characters are
Ooh,
and how they came to be. And also, I think, and yeah, look at certain Easter eggs that were planted a while back.
yeah. Okay.
Um,
Cool.
but yeah, but no, but I think you're gonna be. I think all Heroes Reborn fans are gonna be in for a treat, and you'll see how it all comes to an epic conclusion.
Oh, epic. That word.
Epic.
um,
Epic.
really looking forward to some black and white scenes, hopefully. But yeah, thanks for coming on, and
Yeah.
thanks for answering my really pedantic questions, because I
No,
know
we love it because
that's
I
awesome.
we like love to, we think about a lot of the little small things within each, episode. So it was great to do that. And also for fans, check out I directed a film with Funny or Die with Greg Grumberg,
Ooh,
which will be dropping next, I think this sometime this week.
awesome.
Yeah.
If you want to, I'll keep an eye out for it, and I'll put it in the show notes when it comes up. Is there anything else you'd like to plug while you're on?
No, I guess I just say is, fans, you guys rock. And we were so excited to bring this back. And, it's an awesome world. And stay tuned.
Do you want anyone to give you a quick follow on Twitter? Because you do tweet out some good little things on your Twitter during the
Oh, yeah. And I'm
episodes.
going to tweet out some more like behind the scenes stuff. We've got, they jokingly, the writer's room call me the Andrea Petrelli of decoupage because I would create these
Yeah.
like little mosaic pieces. Don't ask me why. And then somehow they would come true in the show that we made. So follow me on Twitter. You can follow Marisha Mukerjee at Madrina Films. That's at Madrina Films.
Awesome.
We want to thank you so much for taking the time out and doing this interview. You were amazing. Your answers were so detailed. I just really appreciate that.
Yes,
And I
same.
look forward to seeing what you do next.
Thanks,
Awesome.
guys.
That was our interview. We hope you found it entertaining and informative. And until next time,
Download the podcast, save the world.